Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with my next and final update for No Pan Left Behind. We are quickly approaching the end of the year and I'm realizing we're not having much time left of the year, but I'm pretty happy with where I am with my progress so far. This is not going to be the best update in general because I actually haven't hit goal on any of my palettes that I rolled in last time, but there's a good reason for that and I'm going to talk you through that today. So instead of talking you through the palettes that I've used, I'm going to talk you through what I have left to reach for the end of the year. So before the finale and the end of the year, what do I have left to reach for? So before I jump into that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So the first palette that we have to talk about is my Pat McGrath palette. I rolled this one in last month, and this is the Divine Rose 2 palette. It looks like this on the inside, and this is actually the palette I've used the most out of my No Pan Left Behind palettes this past month, but I haven't reached for it fully No Pan Left Behind yet. So let me talk you through what I have used so far. So I've actually used all shades but 4, and the ones that I haven't used so far is this shade here, the 3rd, the 5th shade, and then these 2 right here. So the pinkier shades and then these 2 I haven't used. The rest of the shades I have used, which is really good. So I'm doing some good work on this palette. I reached for this one before I decided to do what I decided to do. So, you know, I got some use out of it. But of course I haven't reached my No Pan Left Behind on this one yet, but I wanted to talk you through what shades I have used. The next palette that I have is one that should have been a really easy one, but I haven't reached for it yet, and that is this one right here, which is a quad from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Exaggerize Eye Quad, the Bigger Brighter Eyes filter in, yeah, that's it, I think that's the type. But this is just like a beautiful little quad. You can create a really nice, soft, neutral look with this palette. But again, I haven't got around to reaching for this one yet. So this one has not been touched, which is fine. Again, I'm going to talk you through why this has happened in a second, but I just want to talk you through what palette I've been working on first. And then the final palette is this one right here, which is the Carbonated Bible palette from Anastasia. This one looks like this, and again, I haven't used it at all. I haven't reached for any of the shades yet, but that is the last palette that I rolled in last month. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to reach for these ones. So you might be wondering, what is the reason why I haven't reached for these palettes? Some of these should have been easy to reach for, and I could have probably easily reached No Pan Left Behind on these. Also, last month I did say that I was hoping to reach for at least like 4 palettes No Pan Left Behind in the next month, but obviously I haven't done that yet. And the reason for that is because in the month of November, I decided to set a panning goal for myself to reach for every single one of my single eyeshadows, so that I can focus on just palettes in the month of December. There's a couple of reasons why I decided to do this, and the main one is because I'm planning to film like a single eyeshadow declutter. I also want to like reorganize my singles and do like a perfect singles palette, all in December. So because of that, I wanted to use all my singles first, and then rearrange them afterwards. And also that way it would be easier to film those videos. Whereas with the palettes, it's fine if I reach for them later on. So that's kind of where I am. I'm going to show you right now what singles I have left to reach for, as well as what palettes I have left to reach for, so you can see all of the eyeshadows that I want to reach for before the end of the year. But I think I'm going to start with the singles because I'm talking about it now. I have actually whittled down my singles left to use to fit all in this palette here. And I'm going to show you what I have left now. So here we have the palette. These are all of the singles that I have left to reach for this month. We can see that I have a lot of purples and like a lot of darker shades, and that makes sense because I haven't reached for those shades recently. All of the eyeshadows in my look today are singles as well, so I have reached for a lot of them today too, and I got kind of the blue out of the way. But these here are the ones that I want to reach for next. So again, we have a lot of purples and a couple other shades, but yeah, I want to reach for all of these. They're all shimmers apart from one shade, which is this one down here, which is the matte. But otherwise, I just have shimmers left to reach for, which is fine because I can incorporate with other things. But yeah, these are the singles that I have left to reach for. Apart from a couple which I'm currently housing in a smaller palette, I wanted to share with you those as well. So I'm actually filming this one on the 21st of November, and I'm going away tomorrow. I just got back from traveling on Sunday the 19th. The day of this going up, I'm actually going up to my boyfriend's parents So I want to bring like a singles palette to bring with me, and I decided to pick a couple of eyeshadows that I haven't reached for yet this year. So this is the palette that I'm going to bring together with my Huda Beauty Gold Obsessions palette, which is my Panna palette. So yeah, in here, the ones that I haven't reached for yet are, let me think. I think I haven't reached for any of the ones apart from the ones that I'm panning. So remove these two here, which is from the Anastasia Nona Gold palette, and then this one here is in my Yellow Project pan. So the rest of the eyeshadows here I haven't reached for either, but I thought I would bring these on my trip with me, and I can reach for them there. But yeah, those are all of the singles that I haven't reached for yet, so I'm doing a really, really good job reaching for all of them. And since we are at the 21st of November today, I do think I should be able to reach my goal of hitting all of my single eyeshadows before the end of the month. And if I can do that, I can focus on my palettes moving forward. So let's talk about what I have left to reach for in general, like palette way as well. So I do have a couple of palettes that I haven't reached for, no palette behind yet, so let's talk you through them. The first one is my Anastasia Sultry palette. I'm currently panning a shade in here, so I'm getting some use out of it anyway. And so far I have reached for 4 of the shades. I have reached for Fresh, I have reached for Ember, Dystopian and Noir, so these 2 deep ones there. These are the only ones that I've reached from this palette, so I have majority of the palettes left to go, but I think this is going to be an easy one to get through once I start reaching for my palettes again. Then we have my Cardi Vibe palette again, like I said. I mentioned this one earlier, but I have every single shade left to reach for in this palette, so that is the second one. We have one more Pat McGrath palette apart from the ones that I used to mention earlier, so we have this Abinal palette too, which is this kind of blue leaning one. This is the first one that she released, and this one again I haven't reached for any of the shades yet, but I think again it's going to be quite fun for winter, which we are quickly approaching. And then again we have the Divine Rose 2 palette. This one I haven't reached for 4 shades in, which I mentioned earlier, so that is the next palette. We also, like I said, have the quad from Charlotte Tilbury, which looks like this, and again this one I haven't reached for, so that's 4 additional shades. We have the Blueberry Muffin palette from BH Cosmetic, and again I haven't reached for any of the shades in here. So some more blue looks from here, but also some more neutral tones, so that is the next one. We have the Elva palette from Odin's Eye. This one looks like this on the inside, and again I haven't reached for any of the shades yet, but I think it's going to be quite easy. This one definitely gives a little bit of a different vibe to the rest of the palette. A lot of the palettes that I have left to reach for are very like cool tone, blue tone leaning, but this one definitely brings some warmth and some more rosiness, which is really nice, so that is the next palette. And then the very final palette that we have left is this one right here, which is the Eternal Eclipse palette from Luna Beauty, and this one looks like this, and again I haven't reached for any of the shades, and again it's very cool toned and like smoky. But those are all of the palettes that I haven't reached for yet, so a couple more to go, but I think it's very doable, especially if I have moved out all of my singles. And I think you can go through this quite quickly in December once I start focusing on them. So yeah, those are the palettes. And those are also the majority of the eyeshadows. We do have a handful left, and those are my single potted eyeshadows. Let me go through those as well. We have 2 Super Shock shadows from Colourpop. We have the shade Amaze and Fantasy. We have a Burberry eyeshadow right here, and this one is in the shade Pale Barley. Looks like this. And then we have a couple of NARS shadows. We have this one here in the shade Calistro, Coconut Grove, and Outer Limits, which looks like this. And those are actually all of the eyeshadows that I have left to reach for, and that is 138 eyeshadows, which I think is definitely doable in the remaining time that we have left. I think, if I remember correctly, I have about like 35 to 40 single eyeshadows I have to reach for. Which I think is definitely doable. So if I get that out of the way, I would have like 100 eyeshadows. I'm looking at like the number here. I would have about 100 eyeshadows left to reach for in December, which again is very doable. I have done that in several months before. Obviously, it would be nice to leave myself some leeway at the end of the year and reach for whatever I want. But I still think I should be able to do that, especially if I push through early in the month. But it's going to be also quite difficult in combining it with all of the things that I'm panning. But I'm going to give it my best shot, and I think I should be able to reach for all my eyeshadows this year, which is very, very exciting because I've never been able to do so before, apart from when my collection was very, very small, like years before I got into makeup. But that is the summary of my No Pen Left Behind, and this video is going to be a little bit different, like I said. Obviously, I have like 3 palettes rolled in technically in this project, but I think I'm just gonna continue reaching for the things that I showed you, and next month, let me know if you want me to cover the 3 palettes that I rolled in, or if you just want like a final update on how I did and my numbers for the year and things like that. So that is it for today, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I always ask, but if you are tracking your eyeshadows too, like the way I am, and trying to reach for everything in your collection, let me know how you're doing. Do you think you're going to hit your goal before the end of the year? And otherwise, I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.